Do you want to build confidence in yourself? Confidence in the things that you don't like to do now or can't do now? I want to run you through what I believe is going to make a big difference in your life and help you grow as a person and actually get more out of life. Stay tuned. So, building confidence. That's a hard one. A lot of people actually find things very difficult. Some things like public speaking, you might also find it difficult to have a face-to-face meeting, job interviews, and those sorts of things. So how do we actually build confidence? And this also goes into the sales side of things too. If you find talking to people about a product or a service or anything like that difficult, you need to have a good look at how you're portraying yourself. And actually, the first thing you need to do, the first tip I'll give you is have a look at yourself. Is it that you don't like yourself? Do you not like something about yourself? Because why would someone else not like you? Why would someone else not like what you've got to say? And so from that, we can start actually thinking about what we need to change or what we need to do differently to start thinking better about ourselves for the first part. So that's the very first thing. What is it about yourself that you like? What is it you don't like? So I would suggest you write this down. Get it down on paper. Be honest with yourself. Be honest and open. That's the most productive thing that you'll do about building self-confidence. And if it's not like the way you look, if you're concerned about how you look, well, is it something you can change? Is it something that you can't change? Is it something that you need to change? And if it's not any of those, is it's just really in your head about being self-conscious. Overcoming barriers about doing things is critical for you to move on about building confidence in talking to people or getting amongst it and actually getting out there. So that's the very first thing. Second thing is self-doubt. Do you think that when you do something, you're actually going to fail? And if that's something that you're thinking, well, that could also be a barrier to building self-confidence. And I'm going to get to what I believe you should do to actually fix this very shortly, but I want to cover off what it is that's causing this problem to start with. Is it that you were bullied when you were younger? And that's an easy one to fix because we can actually fix that very easily. So if you were bullied when you were younger, that's a very critical one. Because sometimes when people are bullied, they're pushed down, they're actually made fun of, they're humiliated. They don't ever want to feel that again. No one wants to be humiliated. So if you've been humiliated in the past, the chances are you never want to experience that again. And so therefore, speaking to people might be tough, or you might be afraid of what they're going to think of you. You might be afraid of what they're going to say to you. You might be afraid of what they're going to say to other people. And so a lot of people are self-conscious in that way. So what is it that's causing you to feel this way? And you need to be honest with yourself. Write down on a piece of paper, why do I feel this way? And what is it that I really want to change? Now, if it's your appearance that you're concerned about, ask other people. Do you find my appearance bad? And if you've got friends who are honest, they'll let you know, yeah, you kind of wear old, crappy clothes. Or, yeah, you kind of, really could do with a new hairstyle. Or maybe you need to shave more. Or maybe you need to, wear a hat or something like that. Take that on board, but don't be bound by it. Okay, so it's just their opinion. It doesn't mean that there's anything actually wrong with you. Now, if that makes you then, those changes make you then feel like you can do something about your appearance that's going to hold you back, great. What if you're overweight, if you're carrying too much weight and you're self-conscious about that? I can assure you, the first thing you can do is go and get fit. Now, the big mistake people make when they're getting fit is they get fit in order to lose weight. Don't do that. That's the biggest mistake you'll make. If your mission is to lose weight, once you've lost that weight, you've got no incentive to keep training and you'll just go back the same way you were and you'll start feeling bad about yourself again. My advice in that regard is to get fit to actually help yourself to be fit, actually to be healthy and live longer. So by changing that mentality, you'll never have a barrier to keep maintaining that. So that's something you can do straight away. If the second part was that you were bullied when you were younger, if that was your issue, and certainly something that happens to a lot of people, there are about 70% of people walking around were bullied at some point. Or you might be being bullied at the moment, either at school or you could be bullied at the workplace. Two things you've got to do. Number one, you need to go and get some skills in yourself that's going to help with that. I would 100% recommend you go do some form of martial art, whether it be jiu-jitsu or Krav Maga or Taekwondo or something like that, or karate. Just go and get involved in that. Number one, that's going to get you around people, interacting with them. Number two, you're going to get fitter as a result. Number three, when you start getting involved in a sport where you actually are competing with other people and you build those skills up, because you've built yourself up, it's going to be hard for other people to bully you in the future because you've developed these skills. So again, that's going to help with your self-confidence. It's going to help you overcome that fear of being bullied. And whether it's being bullied verbally or being bullied physically, by actually developing self-defense skills, you're going to actually strengthen your core inside. And what I mean by that, you're actually strengthening your resolve, you're strengthening your self-confidence, you're actually strengthening that. So there's another barrier that's now overcome. Now, the answer to the question of how do you actually build more self-confidence is you have to do what it is that you're afraid of. That's an easy answer, eh? But if it's public speaking, go and start doing some public speaking. Start slow. Start by speaking in front of a couple of people. Then move to more people. Then get to a small group, and then move up to a bigger group, and then a bigger group, and a bigger group. And eventually you'll get to the point where you can speak in front of anyone. And the big thing you need to remember is they don't know what you're going to say. So you're the one who's in charge of what you say. So they don't know what the show looks like. You have to be the person who actually comes out of your shell and delivers a discussion. So take some points down and get some bullet points of what you're going to talk about. Have an idea in your mind what you're going to cover, and just start doing it. And another thing you could do is grab a camera like this and actually start doing this yourself. Where you don't publish it, don't have to. Just film yourself and watch yourself back over. But keep doing that. Keep finding subjects that you're passionate about. If you're into chess, get a camera like this, talk about chess. Get what it is you're passionate about, watch it back. Do it again until you improve to the point where you feel good about what you're watching, or you feel okay with what you're watching. You don't go, oh, it's all cringy. That's a way of overcoming your self-doubt and your self-confidence issues. And that's going to actually build your own confidence inside. It's actually going to help build internal confidence, because when you're seeing yourself do something that you're uncomfortable with successfully, and now it's not a barrier, you'll find your confidence actually builds. The other thing I would encourage you to do is talk to people. Just people around you. If you're uncomfortable with talking to them, make yourself talk to them. Small talk, things like that. One of the biggest things you can do is talk about them. Ask questions. If you ask questions more than you're telling them about yourself, if you think you've got a boring life, you've got nothing to say, ask about them. Hey, what do you do for work? What is it that you're passionate about? You got any hobbies? Those sorts of things. And what you'll find is that you will build self-confidence. In this day and age, we've got a lot of people who are online, they're on their phones, they're on their tablets, they're on their, computers, those sorts of things. Social media, you're in gaming worlds, those sorts of things, and you don't get out of that bubble. There's no person next to you to interact with except for a screen. You can be anonymous, you can write stuff, you can do all that, but actually physically talking to someone might be hard for you, probably because you don't do it. So get out there, get amongst it. Whatever it is that you're uncomfortable with doing, make that comfortable for yourself. So the more you do something that you're uncomfortable with, the more you'll grow. And keep trying to grow. The other thing is read some books on self-confidence. Read some books on how to talk to people. There's many ones out there, and I think probably one of the best that I can recommend is by Dale Carnegie, and it's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, I know it's an old book, and I know it might seem a bit cliche, but I can tell you now, those principles still work. I still use those principles. I still use them in my everyday job. So if you're not actually seeking this stuff, how do you ever expect to change? And if you want to get the most out of life, I can tell you now, no matter what you're doing, you're always going to be dealing with people. Now, I mentioned that you might have a fear of failure. That's a pretty common one, because most people don't want to fail, and I get that. But If you don't ever have a go at doing something, how are you ever expecting to succeed? The bottom line with that is, if you don't try to do something because you're scared that you're going to fail, you've already failed. I hate to tell you this, but that in itself is a failure. Don't do that. That's not a good way of being productive. Don't avoid doing something because you're scared of failure. That is failure in itself. So getting better at communicating, getting better at dealing with other people is going to make you a better human. You're going to be better for your family. You're going to be better for your self-confidence and your own pride and what's going on inside you. But more to the point, you're going to be better than those people around you. And you're going to improve yourself. And ultimately, you're going to respect yourself. You've got to start respecting yourself before you can actually influence anyone else. So look at those things. If there's stuff about yourself, your physical appearance you can't change, let's say there's something that's just not possible to change that you're not happy with, you know what? Get over it. Absolutely just let that go. Because the only person who's judging you about that is you. The people around you aren't judging you on what you're concerned with. It's yourself. So let that stuff go and just move on and don't be self-conscious about something. Because if you are, ultimately you're the person who's going to have trouble with it, and it's going to reflect on you, not anyone else. So don't actually let those things bog you down. Get after it. Get out there, get involved, and ultimately your own self-confidence will be built and your whole life will change. Go and exercise regularly. Start, getting healthy food put in your mouth. Don't consume bad stuff. It's going to give you a better and better well-being overall. You're going to be fitter. You're going to be happier. You're going to be nicer to people. And don't be afraid of what you say to someone. If they get offended by it, it's their problem. Obviously, don't be offensive, but they're not going to be offended by what you say, and they're not going to reject you. So don't let that hold you back. Get in there. Now, if you've liked the video, please tick like. Also subscribe to the channel and tick the little bell so when we drop new videos, you're going to get notified and you can keep watching. Hopefully you got something out of the video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.